Okay guys, welcome back to Alliance Cup Season 1. This game we have a very special one, RVX versus Today on Korean server. My name is Red Bro, as you all know. I'm joined today by Hickory and Vish. Hello. In my shoutcasting team. So, looking at the game so far, it seems that RVX has a small lead of just a little over 1k gold. There are trades going on in mid lane. We'll let that end before we get into the details of what is exactly happening in the game so far. So as I was saying, it looks like RVX has scrounged up a 1.1k gold lead at this point. We deeply regret the fact that we had to start shoutcasting this game while it was in progress, but some technical difficulties were preventing us from doing the stream. But now we're back. So, alright, so Vish, take us through the matchups. What do you think about both team compositions?
Well, you gotta look team compositions. I'd say RVX does team composition better. I mean, the way it is, like overall, you have Forest on a carry jungler on Shyvana. He's just gonna be power farming the entire jungle, and it's a really good matchup against Amumu because Amumu has problems carrying up the jungle, where Shyvana is like meant to power farm. And over in the top lane, you got Seeker finally after 35 years of playing a tank, playing Shen. I guess one of his good tanks, and he plays it really, really well. So he's going to be able to, like, he's going to be able to support his jungler, support his mid. He's just going to be able to influence the map on that champion. You've got Shiki, I believe, playing his mid lane stand for Orianna, and you have bot playing Vayne Lulu, which is a very powerful lane if played correctly. And, they're playing it correctly right now, so I do believe that RVX is in the advantage right now.
In terms of AoE power, Today on Korean server looks like the team that has a lot of engage in terms of AoE. Like you have Amumu,
you got the Rumble,
yeah, you got Braum with the ult as well. So a combo like that can pretty much be debilitating for any single team. However, on RVX's side, we do see that they have pretty good AoE damage in that sense as well. We have Orianna's ultimate, and Shyvana can just use her burnout in her dragon form, and that just leaves a trail of fire. But meanwhile, we do see that Ryze was trying to do a gank. RVX Forest taking some damage and re-engaging with the ult, goes in. Shen ults on Shyvana. Ryze is in big trouble right now. The taunt goes out. This might be curtain for Ryze. Seeker gets the kill onto the skies on Ryze. Meanwhile, Amumu is in trouble as well. Engage has been gone wrong. Now Braum is almost down. He does go down, and Shyvana.
He's gonna go down. Double kill going for Shyvana. Beautifully executed on the side of RVX. I mean, they saw Ryze walking over to the bot lane. We tried to do something, didn't go well, and RVX countered it pretty well. And the worst part is none of the summoners were used on almost all the champions, and Rumble did not use his TP, to try to even it out. So I guess it's just a bad call and very poor execution on Today's on Korean server side, but very good counter play on RVX's side.
Yeah, and now they got a free tower out of it, and they're gonna get a dragon out of it as well. RVX solidifying their lead. Meanwhile, Braum tries to go and puts the exhaust on the Vayne. They might want to engage on this. Rocket jump does go out. The E is placed. Tristana heal goes out, looking to chase the Vayne. Flash burned by T-Mob. They're still not giving up the chase. A cheeky emo coming up there from T-Mob, and the attack just fizzles out right there. Like, last fight was so unexpected that I just mucked up a lot of my commentary lines back there. So, moving on to the core of the game, the fight back there was pretty intense. It was not really expected that so many people would just engage on bot lane, and that's the thing that you have to look forward to. When you're playing against a Shen, you have to time that TP right because of that global presence that he has.
And there's a 1v1 going on top.
Plus the fact that Shen also has TP, it gives him that leeway to ult down bot and then go back teleport top, which no champion has. Except for maybe Gangplank. He can influence the game with his global ultimate, but not necessarily control the flow.
Would be the closest?
Galio, yes, Galio would be the closest as well. And but we don't see Galio top much nowadays. And after the nerfs that he's been hit by, Galio's been pretty much a quiet pick and not necessarily the hotly contested one that he was at, let's say, Worlds 2017.
Indeed, and RVX, finally they got the dragon, they got the bot lane turret. They are sitting in the driver's seat right now. They're 5k gold up. I really think RVX should start prioritizing this Rift Herald and try to knock down the mid turret, which I guess they're doing right now. RVX Forest is just gonna go for the Rift Herald right as I said so. It's really smart of him to pull it over to the side so that Lulu could shield him while he does it. I mean, he does ult for it, which I find pretty. I don't know if that's a misclick or it's on purpose or whatever. Yeah, they're going to secure the Rift Herald, I believe.
But right now, OGS going in. Rumble ult's down, but Orianna picks both Rumble and Rise in the ult. Shyvana is re-engaging. Orianna might be in trouble. Shyvana's taking the low HP, but the damage is so much, it doesn't really matter. And at this point, Shyvana flashes in. The double kill goes out for Shyvana again. Braum and Amumu caught in a very bad place right now. The ult goes out for Braum, but this might not be enough to save them. Amumu has to flash away. Vayne keeps chasing. This might be curtain for Amumu. Pops the plant. Orianna flashes as well. They want this Amumu to die. Orianna picks up the kill. Now it's time for Braum to be taken out, but RVX decide with the safe option, disengage.
Yeah, I mean, Forrest, it was pretty risky by himself. I mean, just with the Lulu, and we really thought that the blue team had an advantage when they were contesting the Rift Herald, but it just completely turned around right when Vayne came. And Tristana was just alone farming in the. That was just a 4v5 gone wrong.
You can actually see from the items of TOKS's members how far behind they actually are. No single item has been completed. Meanwhile, RVX have a lot of items, like Orianna already has a Merle-Nomicon, and Vayne, you don't need much on a Vayne at mid-game, to be honest, with the ult and the Q damage that boosts her attack damage in terms of that. The BF Sword and the Zeal doing most of the work right there. And Shyvana, the innate stats on this champion is just so strong right now. You can just go the yellow enchantment on your jungle item, and then just build Bruiser, build Tank, or build Bruiser in the terms of the Titanic Hydra and the Black Cleaver, or even you could go for a Frozen Mallet and Titanic Hydra combo, then build full tank, and then you still have a lot of damage. When you jump into the AD carry, use your E, trigger that maximum HP damage, and the Tiamat proc as well. It brings down the ADC to at least half HP, and we've seen Shyvana's one-hitting ADCs even in some games. So she's a very strong champion with a lot of innate tankiness.
Yeah, and then you throw in the Shen shield, and then you just have an unkillable dragon going at your carries.
Yeah, and Forrest is actually 503 right now, so he's gonna have a really good time in completing his items. Actually, he might go for the Frozen Mallet first, as we see from the Giant's Belt being picked up by him. And that's a very good investment, because Shyvana doesn't have any innate CC other than the fact that her ultimate draws in people to her exact flight location where she's gonna land. But the Frozen Mallet component adds a little bit of soft CC to her kit by using the slow, and it makes it easier for her to not be kited.
Indeed so, and RVX comp is just, in general, is just much better than Todayonthekoreanserver comp. I mean, you've got the Vayne, you've got the matching scaling over in the bot lane, you've got pretty much even lane in the mid, and you've got lanes in the top. But, RVX plowing down on this top tier turret, they're gonna take it. I do believe they still have the, no, they don't have the Rift Herald went on to the blue team, which is kind of good on the blue team side. I mean, they do have the Rift to hopefully take at least one turret so they don't fall super behind.
Oh god,
Seeker looking for a gank onto the skies right now.
This guy might be in trouble here. The taunt doesn't land.
Does not land though.
Rune Prison does save him in the end, and Rise gets to live another day. Right now, we're seeing that RVX's team composition wise, they're doing pretty good, but the shot calling, pretty much their macro play has been pretty much on point. Like when you said they should take the Rift Herald, they instantly did that. Like they understand what they need to do and how to systematically take down each single objective and which objective needs to have the most priority. Like they secured the Rift Herald, now they're going for top lane, they already got the first outer turret, they're putting down the pressure. And it has to do with the fact that their composition that they've picked, Orianna, Shen, Shyvana, and Vayne, all of them are pretty much late game powerhouses. And with a Shyvana, right now we do see Shyvana going into the Rise. Rise is having to ult away from the fight. Flashes the mastery emote as well.
Is coming out
Flashes the mastery emote, showing his dexterity in dodging a dragon. Like, there was a mishap in the Rift Herald, of course, but they did go for that when it was needed. And as I was saying about the Shyvana, she's one of the strongest counter junglers that exists in the game right now. And picking in a Mumu against that champion is pretty much suicide at this point, because Amumu's clear is very weak in the early game. And if a Shyvana abuses that weak early game, Amumu is set back for a very, very long time in the game, because as we know that the Season 7 changes have pretty much nerfed catch-up XP.
Oh wait, never mind, we have a fight happening over in the top. He's gonna comment on people. Damn, on Tristana is gonna go Flash fighting for his life, gets first kill. Is he gonna get the second kill? He stutters a little bit, but he is gonna secure the second kill, and a beautifully executed double kill coming out from RBX. Well, you can just see the coordination that's happening between their team.
Right now, we have an exchange of actually mastery emos right now, but Shen is looking for a dive into the skies. And meanwhile, RVX secured the Ocean Dragon. And yeah, Seeker is looking for a gank right now. They're pushing up the mid lane to let the minions tank the turret, but now Rumble joins the fight. They might even go for this. They're feeling confident about this. The mere presence of RVX is enough to literally push Ryze and Rumble away from the tower. Like, the looming threat of the Shen trying to taunt them, or even like going in. Right now, Braum tries to engage, gets kited like nothing. Meanwhile, Ryze uses the teleport, a flash goes in, Vayne might go down, but she doesn't. The ultimate goes out from Rumble, but it doesn't hit Vayne, but she does get taken out by the Ryze, but Rumble picks up the kill. Seeker might be in big trouble right now, and they do pick up the kill on Seeker. Ripcord, Rocket jumping in, slowing Seeker down. And sustained damage is way too much for Shen and Vayne to handle. Meanwhile, Orianna and Shyvana laying down the hurt on the turret. They might fancy their engage here. Braum's caught in the ult, flashes away. Shyvana goes in. Mumu ults Orianna and Lulu. Meanwhile, Shyvana taking a lot of damage right now, dealing out a lot of damage as well. Has to flash away. Flash is engaged from Tristana as well. The E might be enough to kill it. Yes, it is. Braum's stun almost procs on Orianna. She flashes away. What a tops. What a... I don't know what that fight was. It went so back and forth, and TOKS hanging on to dear life even, barely scraping that fight alive. But Orianna still putting down the pressure, still looking to secure something out of that engage that they just lost.
Indeed, it all started out with the flash overextending in the top lane. Then you had Seeker come in. I mean, it looked like a really good play potential for RVX, but then Seeker kind of screwed up. He was able to taunt two people, but he didn't quite yet taunt the Ryze, and that resulted in the Vayne getting instantly blown up. And then you had the rest of RVX hard this mid trying to get some sort of damage onto this turret right there. And yeah, I guess he just had misplays happening all across the map, so nothing much to say about that.
Yeah, RVX were already at a disadvantage, losing out two of their most critical team members. And the fact that they overextended their mid push, this is what a lot of teams do actually. When they get ahead, they tend to be very overconfident, but right now in Season 7, comeback mechanics might be nerfed, but okay, we see a flash coming from Mumu. Might have been a misclick, might have wanted to click smite on the red buff, but mistakenly flash. That will be a problem for Amumu if he wants to do a flash engage in the future for the next 2-3 minutes right now. So
around 5 minutes.
Yeah, 5 minutes. Excuse me. I haven't been playing League for a very long time right now. I've just come back and I've forgot almost everything, like the ultimate names and whatnot.
So they might just be going for the early Baron right now.
Seeker is pushing pressure on the bot lane to attract the attention of Team on Korean server, and he does succeed in that. Looks like Matt Squarepants, Amumu, is actually bot lane to support the team defending. Pings are going down, and Lulu might be in trouble. The Shen ultimate comes down, but Amumu is already there with the stun to interrupt it. But Lulu still is alive. Remember, the jungler for both teams are not contesting for the
very low.
Meanwhile,
right here.
Ryze does pick up the Vayne. Shyvana has to go away from that one. TP goes out from Shen. He might be in trouble here. The Baron's laying down the herd on Rumble right now. Shyvana goes down to the Ryze. Orianna is the next one to be picked off by the Tristana. Team on Korean server are the ones who secure this Baron.
They just got the Baron.
RVX, man, how far have you far? Baron is going to be secured onto today on Korean server. They're going to be looking to siege over this mid lane. This is the first turret of the game for them. They're going to take the mid lane. They might as well go siege for the second tier turret. They have a large minion wave with them. They're gonna go Tristana, doing a lot of damage onto this turret. The turret's at half HP so far. Oriana's still dead on the side of RVX. Vayne just came alive, and that's gonna be 2 turrets and a Baron on the side of today's Korea server, or whatever their name is. And RVX, man, you guys need to stop throwing.
Right now, the gold lead that we've seen just going in favor of RVX in the beginning moments of the game when we started spectating this, it went from 7 or 6k to just 1.2k at this point. The goal lead that RVX had in the beginning of the game. Great comeback from team on Korean server. They've managed to punish every single mistake that RV made. Not a lot of teams can do that because they give up hope and they lose morale and they lose motivation to actually continue playing. But team on Korean server showed immense vigor to actually claw themselves back into the game, and they are very much at a controlling point right now with the Baron buff. They can easily push out RVX's turrets, but they're deciding to farm the jungle for some reason. They should be putting pressure on every single lane right now, because the Baron empowered minions, remember, they do a lot of damage and they're incredibly hard to take down, especially at 22 minutes when both teams won't have many items to actually secure the minions. Like one auto attack from Tristana is doing like half HP of Vayne. They're neck and neck in terms of the build right now, which wasn't the case when the game began. So right now the top turret is going to be secured. RVX might look for an engage with the Baron empowered minions, and the fact that the team on Korean server have Baron are going to basically drive them away and leave them with their outer top turret taken down.
Yep, and you know, they have a little bit of time on this Baron buff left, about like probably 30 seconds or so, probably maybe even a minute, and they're gonna try turrets as possible.
Yeah, but the meeting is going for the second tower right now.
Yeah, I do. Seeker right now is sitting at bot trying to clear out that wave, trying to prevent any more sieges coming out from the Indian team. And oh, Ripcoin getting hit with a little bit of damage, not too much, but we'll be able to lifesteal that back up.
Meanwhile, Oriana ult
again. Oh my god, the shockwave just goes down.
The shockwave goes down. It might have been a cautionary shockwave just to drive them away.
Very questionable drama.
Yeah, and that was also like a display of power. Like, you have ultimates, we have ultimates as well, and we can cast them whenever you cast them.
Yeah.
Oh wait, Amumu looks cut out a bit, but Forrest's not gonna go for it. Just gonna hold down this jungle. Oh, might as well go for it as well.
So Rumble is in the bot lane right now to save the tower from Shen.
Meanwhile, engage going out from Shyvana. Wild growth does get put on there. Mumu might be in trouble right now. Mumu does get taken down. Meanwhile, Braum and Dries holding on for dear life. Meanwhile, Tristana is trying to get away from that. Flash comes out from both Vayne and Tristana. Vayne might even pick up the kill on the rise. The chase is on for Tristana. She might be taken down. Yes, she will. Vayne's passive rushing her towards her kill. And Vayne picks up more kills. And RVX actually cement the lead that they had right now. That was incredibly wasteful macro play, I should say, from Team on Korean server. They had the Baron, they were in control. Suddenly the pressure in bot lane from Shen was enough to basically break their ranks when the Rumble ult was so quintessential to them winning their fights. And without the Rumble ult, they were basically caught off guard and caught without any sort of power in their team fights, and they were basically punished for it immensely.
Yep, and now they're gonna take the Ocean Dragon present on the map. They're gonna take that and probably stall out till the next Baron comes. There's actually a really good play coming out from today on the Korean server. Like, you know, they tried to get the top tier turret. It's actually really low. If you look at the HP right now, it has like 165 health left, and that's not going to be reaching, I believe, anytime soon. So, you know, that turret is basically almost dead, if you ask me. But, you know, RVX, you know, they came back, they got the team fight they wanted, they came back, and they've kind of got some form of pressure and map control, which is always good. Yeah,
and the Shen going down to bot basically forced team on Korean servers Rumble to go down, but The fact of the matter is, when you have Baron and you're pushing up top lane and the turret's being whittled down by a Tristana, it makes more sense to actually go for the push as a 5-member team and let the Shen push out the bottom and then take your turret. Because once you take the turret, you can just basically engage. You have the Braum, you have the Rumble, you have Amumu as well. You can basically flash engage or do extremely long range engages onto RVX's team members. And when that happens, you know they're going to lose the fight because they don't have Baron. They don't have the fact that they don't have any sort of leeway right now. Meanwhile, Vayne goes in. It might be curtains for Ryze. The ult was cast, but Vayne's damage proving too much for Ryze to even try to secure a proper ultimate away from her. So as I was saying, like, when you're in a controlling position like that, when you have the turret taken down, you should just engage and then take out the team members of RV. Plus the fact that you engage will bring up the Shen with the ult as well to the top lane. So the rest of your turrets, barring the inner bottom lane turret right now, which is still standing at this point, that would have been saved. So not necessarily good play from Team on Korean server, but they were courageous enough to scrounge themselves back. So I'm hoping that this isn't a one-sided game, so I want Team on Korean server to make more of those good calls that they made when RVX was not paying too much attention to what they were doing.
Indeed, and RVX finally in control here. He has 5 members of siege on this bottom turret right now. Blue team trying to clear it out. I don't really know what both teams are doing right now. They're just like literally scattered all over the map. I guess RVX is trying desperately to make picks. There was a good pick onto Ryze over in the top lane. It might be another one here, but no, he respects the damage outcome out of Vayne right now. And both teams, you know, they're just going to be, it's kind of like the stable part of the game until the Baron's up. And now the Baron's up, you're going to see both teams just trying to clear and gain vision control around this objective.
But Team on Korean server, their macro play were pretty much, they were reactive of what RVX was doing. So whenever RVX was pulling off good plays in terms of map pressure or engages, Team on Korean server would always be on the back foot and try to respond to that somehow. And it works conversely as well, because when RVX were making mistakes, that's when Team on Korean server saw those mistakes and tried to capitalize on them. They didn't take any sort of initiative when it comes to those macro plays. So I'm not sure if they will pressure Baron specifically, but they will basically be looking for more picks and trying to clear out their lanes and trying to clear out their jungle, getting more farm, getting more CS to try and catch up in terms of the item discrepancy that's happening right now. But do you see an engage coming out for Tristana? Promptly gets punished.
He's just gonna get booed. He's just gonna get exploded. Yeah, that's Tristana just being way too aggressive. But you can see Braum over here is gonna get caught out. The ultimate does go down. It's not gonna prevent Vayne from dishing out damage. He has the speed on him. Is he gonna go in? No, he doesn't. Instead, they should just get back and secure the Baron, I believe.
Yeah, and then we see Shen ult up and both TP and ult up, so he can basically push bot lane as much as he wants. Right now, we might see a battle ping pause coming out. So right now, overall, what we've seen is that RVX's main game plan hinges on the fact that Shen is split pushing bottom lane, and that attracts one of Team on Korean server's teammates to go down and stop them. But without the Tristana in this moment, in this particular moment in time, Team on Korean server lose out on not only on a massive portion of their damage, they basically lose out on one team member who can go down and stop the Shen in the first place. So it actually, and they don't have the Baron buff like they did when Shen was last split pushing. So it actually is kind of a lose-lose situation right now. Like, in these crucial moments when the Baron's coming up and you get caught, that is when your team will get punished for not paying attention to what your opponent is doing.
Yeah, exactly, and RVX actually not starting the Baron here. I guess they respect the AoE
Or they might just be waiting for the Shen to attract someone to the bottom lane until they started. Because they don't want to take a risk at this point. They know that Shen is at bot lane. The ultimate is going to come out, but that's going to take some time before Shen actually immediately joins the fight. So, what they want to do is they are going to wait for the Rumble. As we see right now, the Rumble has gone down to bot lane. They might go for the Baron at this point in time. But remember, the Rift Scuttler is in favor of Team on Korean server. That might be the reason as to why they don't want to start it off, because they don't want TOKS to know what progress they've made with taking the Baron. And Shen is just camping in the bot lane right now. He knows that other than Rumble, no one else is going to join them in the fight. And Tristana is already back up. So at this point right now, meanwhile, Amumu gets caught out. Amumu gets caught out, takes a huge portion of damage, might have to heal up this time. And RVX can actually, this is one of the best times to go for the Baron right now. But they're not starting it. They're being a bit hesitant at this point. Rumble and Shen still duking it out in the bot lane, but remember, Shen can still join in. He has the ultimate, he has the teleport, so he's basically there, even though he's at bot lane. So it's basically a Mexican standoff at this point between two teams. Whoever starts the Baron will be the one to get engaged upon. So not really sure as to how any of.
To be honest, like it's not like the Baron that's gonna do anything. It's just that both teams are just gonna keep fighting for vision. I mean, right now, oh wow, Ripcord. While everyone was sitting out that Baron trying to clear vision, Ripcord just walks up mid and blows up an inhibitor turret. That was pretty unexpected. And now blue team start the Baron. I'm pretty sure red team or VX sorry is recognizing.
The flash coming into Vayne. The Rizal comes in. Orianna on 3-man goes in. Oh, AoE obliteration at this point. Braum gets picked out. Rise is the next one to go in. Rumble uses the ultimate, lays down a ton of damage. The Zonius comes out. RVX Panda might be in trouble here. He still survives. And RVX are going to take an easy Baron at this point.
No, they do need to back. Shen TP's coming out.
Meanwhile, Ripcord is going for the turrets. Nexus turret. Did you guys see Ripcord?
Yeah, he just pushed down mid like it's no tomorrow. Team fought and lost the 4v5. But anyways, he was able to get an inhibitor for that, and they were able to trade Baron for that, as well as they got the TP out of the Shen, which is actually very crucial in his kit. So the only global presence he has right now is his ultimate. And yeah, he doesn't have his TP out to cause even more global pressure. So Baron on the side of RVX. Let's see how they utilize this.
So what do you guys think? A mid turret and a mid inhib for Baron.
Yeah, well, at this point, if I were RVX, if I was part of RVX right now, and we had the Baron and we had like our hyper carries picking up and ramping up, like the Shyvana, the Vayne, they're basically doing a lot of damage, coupled with the utility from Shen, Lulu, and Orianna. If I were RVX, I would not be worried at this point that the mid inhibitor was down, because I can easily push out the minions to the mid lane and then focus on a lane which doesn't have super minions, like say for example bot lane, and pretty much dive TOKS into oblivion. Because if one member of TOKS gets picked out by any of the initiates that RVX have, that can prove crucial, because TOKS at this point cannot afford a 4v5 fight against RVX right now. They're just too strong at this point. And as you can see, they're very passive in their plays. They're just allowing their super minions to just roll down mid lane and try to put pressure on RVX. Meanwhile, RV are looking to basically rotate down the bot lane and push through there, because they've shoved the mid lane to the TOKS base. They've cleared out the super minions so far, so they're safe for a while. But they have to be quick, because super minions do go out. Meanwhile, Vayne uses Condemn on the Rumble. This is exactly what I was talking about. 4v5 force right now. And right now, RVX will secure a very, very easy bot lane inner turret. And this might be the precedent that sees them going to the bot lane, taking out the inhibitor, and then making a final straight push for the enemy base. But right now, the vision control at this point is what betrayed TOKS at this point. Like, RVX has amazing vision control in both their and the enemy jungle. Meanwhile, TOKS has a very haphazard vision plan at this point. Very, very easy trades going out for both teams at this point.
Shockwave kind of goes wide. I don't think Shinji is actually strategically trying to place these shockwaves into good effect. I think he's just like ulting randomly, because his last 2 or 3 shockwaves that he has have been like pretty shitty. No offense, because like even when they were trying to siege, the team was trying to siege the top lane turret, he kind of his shockwave kind of went off there, and it just kind of went up here as well. So blue team realized that there. They do realize that Korea is a bit, but trying to engage. Rise ultimate does go down. They're kind of turret right now. Because the side mommy does go on. Panda going very low right now. stuff, goes back with Rise going too far deep into the back line, and Vayne just being able to pick them off a triple.
Will we see a pentakill at this point? We will see a pentakill.
Flashes forward, with the Root King, hit King,
oh my god!
Coming up on the side of RVX Flash, you are a god picking up the pentakill in the final team fight, and that's going to be a turn and might as well be an inhibitor as well.
Team Up, the god, just obliterating every single one of TOKS's team members, securing the pentakill, the first pentakill of this tournament, if I am not mistaken. And this just might be the final push that sees RVX clinching this game. We've seen a lot of back and forth going on, TOKS capitalizing on a lot of RVX mistakes. But then they did manage to claw back, but RVX proving way too strong for them to handle. And that was just an insane fight. RVX in a very comfortable lead right now. The inhibitor for them is going to spawn again, so the super minion pressure will be alleviated in a short while. They're just controlling the flow of this game at this point.
They have got all the barons, they have got all the dragons. It's 7-27 and they are almost like 12k gold lead.
Indeed they are, and you know, Baron's going to be spawning pretty soon, I believe. Bot lane turret is knocked for RVX, and they're going to try to have the Shen split in the top lane while they group over in the mid lane and kind of push this lane with super minions out. But so far, in terms of inhibitors, RVX just respawned right now, so they don't have any games to them. So they
meanwhile,
really
Seeker might be in trouble. He does get ulted away from the Tristana, and that is basically going to save him from any sort of doom that he might have been welcoming with that over pushing. But right now, the Condemn comes in, the Flash is out, but Shyvana does engage with a Rise teleport, takes 4 members of TOKS away, but that dragon is out for blood, ladies and gentlemen. He is going in, he's going ham at this point. RVX, like I said, they're in complete control of the game, and they can just dive this our turn. Meanwhile, Shen goes in with the taunt, Rise taking a lot of damage, manages to go in. Meanwhile, Shinichi,
oh my god, just explodes Ripcord out.
The shockwaves, like you said, Fish, they were pretty random, but this definitely was intentional.
Look at that Vayne.
Yes, we can't take our eyes off of it, because the Vayne is basically 12-2-9 at this point. It is basically dictating the flow of the game. Meanwhile, Rumble goes down, a last-ditch attempt to clear out the minion waves, but RVX do not care. They're still gonna get pushed up for the turret. Meanwhile, Forest goes in again. Wild Growth comes out. Mumu is in trouble. He gets taken down. TOKS getting obliterated left, right, and center. Rise is the next one to go down. Braum flashes away. Rise just probably get taken down. Braum is next. The shockwave coming in, but Braum is knocked out before that shockwave can do anything. And this is how RVX secured the game versus TOKS. What a game, ladies and gentlemen. It wasn't a complete stomp until the very, very end when Vayne got that pentakill. But that was incredibly exciting to watch.
Indeed it was, and you guys stay tuned for OGS coming up shortly right after this game.
So as Vish said, we will have RVX, the same team that you guys just watched dominate TOKS. They're going to be up against OG. It's one of the most exciting games of this tournament, so do not miss out on that. We will be back after 2 minutes with a short break. Okay,
Hey guys,
guys.
welcome back. You start.
Yeah, we're really excited for this particular match, so we just both started. Like, hey guys, welcome to this match. But without further ado, welcome back to Alliance Cup Season 1. Right now, we have the best game of the night by far. RVX versus OG, hoping for an exciting close game, unlike the ones that we've seen, which were pretty much stomps in favor of OG and or RV. And right now we're going through the picks and bans, so it's like the calm before the storm. So 3 minutes of just after the ban phase is completed, you have like 3 minutes of contemplation as to how this game is gonna go. That's how excited we are for this one. So right now, from both teams, we have junglers being banned, Xin Zhao and Lee Sin. Now, Xin Zhao has been one of the most hotly contested picks in Season 7, regardless of the patch, if you're playing on 7.24 or 7.24b, because of the fact that he deals so much damage in the early game, and he has so easy ganking potential with his basically a point-and-click dash. And Lee Sin as well, consistent all-around strong jungler and Jarvan. And of course, the staple ribbon ban for RVX Seeker.
Yeah, that's like what among the Asia, especially like the two powerhouse teams play against each other. You always have to throw in the ribbon ban because Seeker has just been so consistent and so good on that ribbon for many years now. I mean, I think as far as I can remember, since like Season 3, it's been his like #1 pick over the top lane. So it's always good to throw a ban towards him. But speaking about the bans in general. Lee Sin, J4, Gragas, all jungle bans being thrown at OG. Cyanox being a really good Lee Sin and a J4 player and a Gragas player. I mean, he always likes to play those standard junglers and stuff like that. So 3 jungle bans on the side of RVX, whereas OG have kind of gone for a mix of jungles and top laners. I mean, the ribbon ban is targeted towards Seeker, and the Xin Zhao ban is just a general all-out ban because it's just a really strong pick right now and has like a really high win rate. And the Shen ban is coming in for Seeker because it's probably like one of the only tanks that we've seen him play in this tournament so far.
And we've also seen him play Maokai, which has been picked up by RV. And to be frank, honestly speaking, I do not understand the pick logic behind Rek'Sai. Because she's a champion that we haven't seen being picked mostly in the top tier ranked games or the top tier competitive games with the new patch 7.24b. So I guess Cyanox is more comfortable playing Rek'Sai against a team that he knows is going to be very, very, very good against their team as well. So yeah, this is pretty surprising, but I guess if the comfort zone is to be prioritized more over, let's say, team composition, Rek'Sai is actually not that bad of a pick, and RVX Seeker, going for that Maokai, he's been a staple top lane champion throughout Season 7, including Worlds 2017. Incredibly tanky, does a lot of sustained damage, you don't expect it, but suddenly you're half HP. So, plus the utility that Maokai provides, it offers up a champion who is good at almost everything. And the roaming potential of Maokai is insane as well, with the point-and-click route and the knockback, plus the route from his ultimate, which was recently added in his rework. And right now, take us through the Vish. Take us through the next phase of bans. We have GP and Xerath. Who do you think these bans were meant for? Like, we obviously know Xerath was meant for Shinichi, but have we seen Gangplank being too much of a problem in recent games?
I think Gangplank as a champion is like really easy, but you have this guy Empire, who's probably one of the best top laners India has ever seen, and he's always up. He's almost like a better form of Seeker in my opinion. Always playing these carry top laners. He's playing Jace. Gangplank is one of his really good champions. He always plays these like high risk, high reward, high like carry style of top lane. And GP is like one of his go-to champions. So I think the GP ban was a really good ban on the side of RVX. The Trundle ban especially is a ban I really like by RVX because the only counter champion to Maokai in my opinion is Trundle because of its because the way Trundle is, it steals your stats. It's just the counter to tanks, and you can really start a really good split push game with it. So so I really like the second ban phase for RVX, the GP and the Trundle.
Right now, what we have seen also in terms of jungle picks, Forest deciding to stick with the Shyvana because of the fact that Sejuani has already been banned by OG. Now, Sejuani has been a dominant champion in the jungle. She's basically a jungle version of Mao with the CC and the sustained damage that she can do and the tankiness. So bear in mind the fact that most of the top junglers right now have already been banned, barring Kayn, Kha'Zix, Rengar. Right, but in high octane matches, teams are basically hesitant to pick those high damage champions because if they're shut down earlier, if they don't get the snowball that they need, they might not get the items they need, which are very expensive to obtain, like Duskblade, Yumu's Ghostblade, and the Warrior Blade, which is the jungle upgrade. If they don't get those items by mid-game, they are basically going to just explode when they go into teamfights instead of making the AD carry explode. And right now, most junglers have opted for more bruiserish picks, so they're pretty safe, but they still do a lot of sustained damage in order basically to keep themselves relevant. Shyvana doing much more damage than Rek'Sai in my opinion. And looking at the picks right now, we have Morgana, Frostmourn's on Morgana, and Morgana is basically a very good champion for shielding your divers so that no one can peel for them with the Black Shield. And of course, the Dark Binding is one of the staple abilities of League of Legends. We've seen so many plays, starting from the first World Championships to the last. Morgana has been a playmaker through and through because of that Dark Binding ability and her super crazy AoE stun ultimate. And the fact that she can also dish out a lot of damage in bot lane with her pool. It just makes her a very good champion to support with. And Vish, what do you think about Zoe? She's the newest champion, the newest addition to League, and probably one of the most annoying champions to play against due to her sleep, which lasts like for eternity. So what do you think about that pick?
Yeah, I think it was. I think Zoe in general is just insanely broken champion right now. I mean, we've seen it time and time again. Right from the new champion, the champion becomes super OP in the beginning, and then they decide to nerf it, and some of them stay in the meta, some of them stay relevant, but most of the time, kind of like Aatrox, you know, when he was released, he was like super OP up in the top lane. Then Riot nerfed him, and then he never came back to the meta. So right now, Zoe is in that stage where, like, you know, she's just now released. She's super strong and super OP right now, and you know, I really think instead of the Lee Sin ban, I really think the Zoe ban should have the RVX should have banned Zoe instead of Lee Sin. But you know, I'm pretty sure Shinji was confident enough to play against it. I mean, he does have Veigar, which we all know does really well into super strong mages like Zoe and like any high damage mages. So if Shinji is confident playing against Zoe, then why not keep it up?
Yeah, and Veigar is actually a very good pick. Like you said, Veigar is actually a very good pick against Zoe. But then again, Zoe's main problem with the champion itself is the fact that her sleep and her dashes, like the teleport that she does, with her projectile damage, it's too much for one single ability. Like, if you get hit by that projectile, and if you're an ADC and it's a full build Zoe, you're gonna get one shot, like, instantly right there. Plus, it also allows for Zoe to make more plays. I'd say that OG are leaning towards more of a pick composition with the Zoe and the Morgana, and they have Rek'Sai and Singed as well to follow up with that, plus Vayne is going to clean up in that as well.
And I believe somebody quit, or I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I guess somebody did quit or somebody did get DC'd because we've been kicked out of the game for some reason. It might be a technical difficulty, but we will work on fixing it. So we are working on a fix right now, and we'll be right back in 1 minute. Alright folks, so we're back again with more League of Legends action. As you've already announced, it's RVX versus OG. Last time there was some technical difficulties, so someone had to basically quit the client and then come back again. But we will have the same bans and the same picks made by both teams as per the previous round. So as long as meanwhile, as they're doing it, let's just pretty much basically run down the team composition of OG. They picked Vayne, Morgana, Singed, and Rek'Sai, and I forgot the other champion, Zoe. Of course, Zoe. How can we forget about Zoe? We were just discussing about that one. So, Vish, what do you think about OG's team comp that they picked?
I mean, I don't really know if they have actual team comp. I think all the players just picked champions that they were comfortable with. I mean, we saw Frost on Morgana, which is like one of his signature champions. He's always been a big fan of that champion. He like built his entire support legacy on that champion. And there's a reason why Morgana is champion. It's because of him. He's played so much Morgana and he's influenced so much Morgana gameplay that it's just there. And you know, kind of Taka over there picking up Zoe. Probably like one of the first people to pick up Zoe in the mid lane and play that champion. Brutality has always been a big player his entire career, and he still plays a pretty good Vayne in my opinion. And you know, he's comfortable on that, especially against Ezreal. Ezreal is very short ranged in his auto attacks, and it's one of the easier lanes for Vayne to deal with. And Synox, you know, just feeling comfortable on the left, picking that Empire. Most of his carry top lane being banned with the J4 Shen Gangplank, so he's gonna go back on. And you know, all of OG are just picked champions which they're comfortable with, which they know they can like be impactful and be good with. Whereas like RVX have actually like gone out for like a comp with like CC, tank, wave clear, and you know. So yeah, it's basically two different styles going out against each other, and you know, whichever one is better will obviously prevail.
Now, looking in terms of picks from RVX, we see that they have much more in terms of CCing potential. You have the Maokai, you have the Veigar stun, and Leona is basically a CC machine. Couple that up with the Shyvana, who doesn't have any innate CC, but she does have a lot of support coming in for her to help her out, engage and re-engage, and also keep on the chase against these champions. But of course, speaking of chasing, you do not want to chase a Singed when he has 2 or 3 items completed. So that is basically something that RVX should be mindful of, because Singed is a champion. We've seen him incredibly popular in Season 2 and Season 3. Not necessarily too popular in this season or the precedent seasons. So yeah, it's a pretty unexpected pick. Interesting to see how Maokai is going to fare against the Singed at this point in time.
There actually isn't going to be much. Singed probably going to try to get a proxy. And Maokai's just going to farm up. I don't think top lane is going to be that. It's just going to be a wet noodle, to be honest. They're just going to train against each other, trying to farm up creeps. I don't know, go back, heal up, pot up. I don't think the interesting part of the map is going to be basically everything else but the top side. I mean, the mid lane, you know, is like very aggressive. Mid Vicar is like the counter to like mages in the mid, and the bot lane and just mid lane and jungle are all just going to be very interesting matchups.
Of course, like in terms of jungle picks, we have Rek'Sai and Shyvana, and Shyvana, while being the faster farmer in this regard, Rek'Sai has actually better gank potential than Shyvana pre-level 6, and even then, after level 6, Rek'Sai is still the better ganker. But in terms of late game progression and how useful each champion is, as the game goes on, Shyvana just ramps up in power, while Rek'Sai kind of just dwindles down into a state of just a CC machine who can deal a lot of damage, but she still does not really match up to the obliterating force that is Shyvana. She's basically a tanky assassin at this point, because if she gets down with the ultimate and then E's and twin bites your AD carry, he is basically done for. We've seen one-shot Shyvanas, we've seen half HP Shyvanas as well. Like, they basically obliterate squishy targets. But OG also have a lot of disengage in the Zoe Sleep and the Singed and Morgana as well. so they can actually run away from fights better than OG. Because in terms of OG, it's basically all in or nothing. When Shyvana uses her ult, when Leona goes in or Maokai goes in, they're in it for the long fight. They have to engage and have to see the fight out. Otherwise, they're going to be basically chased down and obliterated. And Ezreal, at this point, with Leona versus the Vayne Morgana, not sure how these two bot lane matchups are going to go down. I'm leaning more towards on the side of the Leona and Ezreal, because I'm not too sure about how Morgana and Vayne is.
No, I think Morgana is like the counter to most heavy high CC supports because of her spell shield. Her spell shield basically prevents any form of crowd control touching her or her AD carrier or whoever she decides to throw it on. So in the bot lane, I'm pretty sure the support, it's going to be more, it could go either way, to be honest. I mean, Vayne is not that strong in lane either, but like, they both, I guess in the bot lane, both these, there's basically equal opportunity for both the teams there. I mean, if Leona and Ezreal play properly, they could win. If Morgana and Vayne play properly, they could come out ahead. But I think that's a very even matchup.
At this point, I was leaning more towards probably the Ezreal and Leona because of the fact that Vayne, with her weak laning phase from till level 3, when she gets her W and her E as well, with press the attack, she's actually pretty good in lane post level 3. But before level 3, that is when things are going to go down. Like, when Ezreal can basically poke you to death, that part of the laning phase is where Vayne needs to be incredibly careful. She needs to see that out, see that through, and sustain in lane long enough for her to reach level 3 before they can basically sustain farm and return the damage somewhat to the Leona and the Ezreal. But at this point in time, it's too difficult to say which way it's going to lean towards. And Veigar is actually a very good counter to Zoe because of the mobility she has. Veigar can just basically stun her and keep her in place so that she can't use her dodge. But bear in mind that Zoe is a very slippery champion to catch in the first place, so Veigar has to work insanely hard to land that stun from the get-go. But once the stun is landed, you can pretty much say goodbye Zoe because of the huge burst damage potential that Veigar has.
Indeed so, and as we load into the I wanted to ask you, who do you think is going to win? Do you think G is going to take the win, or do you think RBX is going to take the win?
It's kind of very up in the air when two teams are so similar in terms of skill levels, macro plays, and whatnot. We've seen OG being one of the best teams in India. They've obliterated their competition. I've also played against OG a couple of times, and I was just baffled as to how well and in sync they work. Of course, that was a different lineup back in the day, but I'm pretty sure the same philosophy stuck till now. And RVX, most of these people are my ex-team members, and the fact that these people are probably some of the most talented League of Legends players in Bangladesh. Not probably, they are some of the most talented League of Legends players in Bangladesh. And they've evolved so much as a team. They've gone through a lot of changes, like Zahin left, and T-Mob came in, and Cool Dude left, and Panda came in his place. But they're still melding well with the team. They're still holding on to the philosophy that RVX had, which is basically just bull rushing every single objective and trying to make aggressive plays. Might be too overly aggressive, so RVX has that disadvantage. Like, when they get in the lead or when they feel like they're too comfortable, they get way too aggressive and might start throwing out, as we've seen in the last game versus Todayonthekoreanserver. OG, on the other hand, are probably one of the most calmest teams I've seen. Even when they're in the lead, they would calculate every single, even the minutest details whenever they make a push. So it all depends if RV can keep their cool if they get into the lead. It all depends on which team makes the more mistakes, not the team which makes the more plays.
Yeah, I mean, in the history of India versus Bangladesh, I'm not trying to be biased, but I think India's always been on the edge. They've always, come out ahead every time the two powerhouse teams have gone at it. But I think this is like the first time. I mean, this is like the first time where we don't know who's actually better right now, and this is like, we're gonna find out like which country or which team is actually better.
Yeah, I realize at this point that this isn't just a matchup between two of the best teams in the subcontinent. This is a matter about which country has the best League of Legends players, and it actually puts a lot on the line for both these teams. It's not just about the tournament anymore. It's not just about who's the best team in the subcontinent. It's about which country is the better League of Legends playing nation. point. Even though we can see that a lot of Indian players, a lot of Bangladeshi players are still yet to reach the level that these players have reached, it still serves as bragging rights for players in their respective regions. So, yeah, a lot of the line at this point, and it is going to be an exciting game. I'm pretty sure both these teams will play their hearts out. They'll try their level best to gain every inch of advantage that they can. So, let's see at this point. And as we are seeing right now, both teams are going for a very, very safe start because none of them want to take the risk of being caught out in a bad invade or any sort of bad luck that they might face. So pretty standard stuff coming out, while Shyvana is starting red, which is in contrast to the fact that most junglers start off on the bot side so they can get a smiteless leash, and Maokai is actually helping them out, which might mean the Singe hits level 2 earlier than Maokai. And I'm not sure how that's going to play out for top lane dynamics. If Singe does decide to harass the Maokai by using the flip and then laughing, that might be something for Maokai. That might be a deterrent for Maokai.
If just goes for the invade, is he going to go try to make Cyanox at the red buff? He does take a plan. Oh, Cyanox smartly wards the blue buff, sees that Morgana's off the blue buff. Empire going to come back around, try to help his jungler out right here, but Shyvana, understanding that the blue buff is warded and he's been spotted out trying to invade that blue buff over there, and that's going to back off safely. That was a very smart word in my opinion, Cyanox right there, because he knows, he knows exactly where both teams know exactly where the enemy junglers have started, because top lane was there first and bottom lane was a little bit late to lane. But, just warding that blue buff, making sure that Shyvana invade was just a very smart word in my opinion, and he's coming in for the skill shot being landed. Right now, Forrest is asleep right now. He's going to take a little bit of damage with go back, but I think that was just a desperation play. I didn't really like that play. He went for the blue buff. He saw the solo laners trying to rotate back off. He took the Rift Spell right there, and then he went for a very cheeky gank in the mid, which I don't really like in my...
I guess it was basically an act of desperation because once you've invested that level of time by not doing your second buff and then going for the enemy buff, once you've wasted that time, you have to make best use of it. So that's why he went for the Rift Scuttler, to secure a little amount of vision for RVX so that they can spot out the jungler coming in, and they do spot out the jungler. Rek'Sai making his way to the enemy jungles, trying to might want to steal away the golems or might want to dive. He's actually pretty much stealing away the golems at this point, and Shyvana, in terms of lane farm, he's a bit set back at this point, I guess. He's not going to head level 4 earlier than Rek'Sai if Rek'Sai manages to continue on the farm. But in terms of the fact that Shyvana did waste a little bit of time trying to get the enemy blue, he should have just backed off, taken the Rift Scuttler, and go straight to blue, because you know that you're going to have to play catch-up to Rek'Sai because he's already warded it, and his teammates are aware of the fact that you have a Shyvana who's going in. Meanwhile, Leona goes into the Vayne, gets E'd into the turret, and Panda going to take a lot of damage in the process. And here's what we were saying about this bot lane matchup. Like, both teams, it all depends on the fact that if Vayne can reach the level 3. Meanwhile, Shyvana is coming in for the gank. Flash burn by both.
No spell shield is available. Vayne
has to flash out.
Yeah, Shyvana does take a turret shot. Nothing really happens there, but the flash of Vayne is burnt. So they can probably make a repeat gank or something like that. They can, just Vayne not having flash early levels in the raining place just leaves like any AD carry, but open to so much gank potential.
And we see a Rek'Sai gank coming out in the mid lane. Veigar gonna lay down the stun and just basically casually hop away. And like, as I was saying, Vayne, after she goes to level 3, it's kind of basically a very smooth laning phase for her, in contrast to what it was in previous seasons because of press the attack and the new rune changes. The fact that a lot of bot laners don't have that extra armor that they used to from the previous version of the runes. And Shyvana coming in for the level 3 gank, a flash burn by Vayne might not be good enough for RVX at this point, because Vayne is pushed up to their tower. And the fact that Shyvana is not really a very good ganker pre-level 6 is basically playing to the fact that Vayne's flash is literally not that necessary for her to be safe at this point, seeing how pushed up she is to her tower. So Shyvana's going to have a really tough time ganking her. Plus you have the Morgana spell shield, which will basically deter Leona from jumping at her way too much.
Indeed so, and you can just see how aggressive that Kanak is playing over in the mid lane. He has lane. He knows the limits of his champion, and he knows how to play his champion. I mean, Forrest trying to get some form of word control out. Oh my god, the stun's gonna get landed. He's gonna cleanse it, but really there's just nothing that can be done onto this guy in mid lane. I mean, he can freely walk into a one.
Meanwhile, a condemn goes out. RVX Panda might be in trouble here. Rek'Sai gank, the flash coming out, but the ignite is... No, it is Vayne who finishes it, but Ezreal does get the kill on the Rek'Sai, and another kill by Morgana on the...
Oh my god.
The
flash binding coming out.
The binding was the one that saved the Vayne in the first place. Triumph does return a lot of HP to her, but at that point it was basically curtains for Vayne if it weren't for Morgana. Like, that was basically a very, very even trade that did go in favor of OG, I would say, but very good counterplay by RVX's bot lane to actually help out and then get the kill onto the Leona. So
no. Oh yeah, get the kill on the Leona. Yeah, so it was basically 2 for 1.
Yeah, it was 2 for 1. Yeah, it was a 2 for 1, but it wasn't that much of a significance for OG. Of course, first blood is important, but still, bot lane is still going to be pretty stagnant without jungle pressure. Like we said, Rek'Sai coming in, that was the trigger point. That was basically why Vayne and Morgana had the strength to actually fight this battle. In retrospect, if the Rek'Sai wasn't here, they wouldn't have fought that one in the first place. So, because Vayne and Morgana, they're the ones who have to safely farm, and Leona Ezreal are the supposed to go on the aggressive, because you know that Leona has a lot of CC in her kit, you know that Ezreal has a lot of damage and poke damage early on. Meanwhile, Vayne, while she does have a smooth laning phase, she's not the best attacker combined with the Morgana. So that advantage that bot lane has built up for OG is going to play very heavily in their favor.
Indeed it does, and but even though that was a 6, did put Simon struggle. You can see now Forrest being able to out-level him, and him just being behind. But they are looking for a 4-man onto the bot lane right now. You can see the pings coming out. They have the control ward in the Traverse right now. Synox, already has a tunnel. Is going to take it. He goes in to take it right now. Vayne coming in with the final hour and the tumbles right in. The knock up and the binding goes down onto Leona. Karak wasn't able to get an assist, but they still secure the kill. And that was... Oh wait, Synox gets traded again, a 1 for 1. My bad.
Yeah, Synox every single time he comes... He just poor Rek'Sai just keeps on dying to the Ezreal every single time he comes bot lane. But we have to focus on the more important point. Vayne getting kills early is not what you want if you're on the opponent team. Because come mid-game, we all know which AD carry is going to be the stronger if they have the kills. Like Vayne, she has much more slow ball potential than Ezreal if she gets the kills early on, because she transitions into mid game so well right now with press the attack and the items, and the fact that her ultimate passive means that when an enemy champion dies, if that enemy champion was damaged by Vayne somehow, it increases the duration of final hour, which means that Vayne can keep on continuously spamming those auto attacks with the increased damage that she gains from her ultimate, not coupled with the fact that she can go invisible with Q.
Indeed, it's just an overall good champion right now, and goes by that very well. But Forrest, on the other hand, is able to put a control ward down. It doesn't quite yet spot the blue ward that you can see right behind the Triburst there. But OG is just not in a team to contest this dragon, and that's going to be a free ocean drink on the side of RVX right now. I mean, even though you don't see Forrest probably having enough map presence as Synox is, I mean, he's not ganking as much, but but that's not what a Shyvana is supposed to do. Shyvana is doing what she needs to do. She needs to power farm in this during the early minutes of the game. She needs to she can solo objectives like that, and she can transition into the mid game and become that bruiser type of sort of tank type of build you were talking about.
Interesting to see the keystone that Maokai has picked up. He's taken Nullifying Orb and interesting the rune that he has picked up, not the keystone in fact. Meanwhile, teleport coming down in the bot lane from Zoe. Meanwhile, Maokai goes in. Zoe might be in trouble here. Both are rooted at this point. Frostmore engages out the ultimate. Sin's just running really fast at this point. Leona scrounds out for low HP. Zoe is going to get taken down by T-Mob. Vayne is incredibly low at this point. Ezreal laying down the tag damage from there. Veigar trying to poke it out. Forrest has escaped with a very, very low amount of HP. Ezreal still laying down the hurt with his Q. And that fight, it just went very, very topsy-turvy at that point. But RVX coming out with more kills. Right now, since this gets stunned, he's only gonna get poke damage, and that's pretty much how the fight fizzles out. But interesting play by both teams. Like both teams just went all in on that one. They exhausted all of the resources that they could have. But Ezreal at this point is 3-1-0. He has a shield, he has a mana, and a intact stopwatch. If I may say, if I was mistaken by saying broken stopwatch, it's an intact stopwatch. It hasn't been used yet, and Vayne is actually going for the first item as
condemned onto the wall. Ezreal looks like he's in trouble, and that will secure his disengage. I mean, that was in a pretty tricky spot he was in earlier, trying to get some damage onto the Vayne under the turret, and it was just being able to condemn to the wall. While all the chaos was happening over on the bot side, Cyanox, however, was not in the fight over at bot lane. He was over at top lane, pushing the wave, and got a lot of damage onto the first tier top turret, which kind of evens it out.
And right now, Shyvana does get the sleep on engaged, but somehow she disengages that, but Veigar might be in trouble here. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, we see that Panda is in the deep at this point. Vayne does go in with the final hour. She's gonna pick up the kill on the Leona. Yes, she does, but Ezreal, can she secure another kill on that? He uses Arcade Shift and Brutality gets the Q auto attack. Double kill on the Vayne. That was very risky play from Team Up, not paying out as much as he thought it would have. Like Triumph, as we know, the rune in the precision tree, it gives you back 12% of your HP every single time you kill or assist in a champion death. So Vayne actually regained a lot of HP at that point. Maybe Ezreal did not focus on the fact that Vayne had Triumph and just instantly went in with the E, promptly gets taken down by the Q empowered and the Q empowered auto attack, and the fact that Vayne still had her final hour, which meant that she went invisible before Ezreal could land any auto attacks or any sort of Q. And at this point, Vayne is just dominating bot lane. He picks up the Blade of the Rune King as the first item, and I don't know, this might just go in favor of OG because Vayne at this point is snowballing really, really hard.
Indeed, she's 4-0 right now. She's got her 14-minute Blade of the Rune King plus the boots and a dagger. She's completely ahead of Ezreal right now in CS, in kills, and Ezreal, just trying to survive this laning phase, just trying to make sure that he doesn't get more kills over onto the Vayne.
And right now we do see a DC, Cyanox being DC'd, and this pause coming up, but they will be back shortly. And so far in the game, OG has picked up a 1.1k gold lead over RVX, despite RVX having the first dragon of the game. And taking a look at the bot lane right now, which has been the most action-packed lane, arguably, in this entire game. So Vayne 401, 109 CS in comparison to Ezreal's 97, but Ezreal's not that far behind in kills. He is 1 kill behind Vayne, but in terms of CS, he is behind by 12. But in terms of the itemization, he's going for a Triforce with the Manamune, which is going to transform into more mana in the late game or in the mid game. So that power spike that Ezreal does get is going to be paramount for RVX's comeback, if there is going to be any. And bot lane needs to just hunker down and let the Ezreal farm, let the Ezreal basically use the Q and get the last hits and the stacks in the Manamune to get that Muramana up. Meanwhile, they should also focus more attention for the Maokai and the Shyvana to actually pressure bot lane. And to do that, they have to set the Rek'Sai behind, which it's too late to do via counter jungling, but I guess more pressure in the mid lane and pushing out the tower would mean that one champion from OG has to go defend mid. So it all depends on the mid lane game at this point. And we all know that Rek'Sai is the one who has the advantage with the ganking potential. So when Rek'Sai does gank mid lane, and if he does get the kill, it means that bot lane is pretty much open to be ganked by the top laner or the jungler. Because once someone has to defend the mid lane turret, otherwise the mid lane turret is going to go down. And this is basically how it's going to be dictated. I think the Shyvana pick into the Rek'Sai was not essentially a good option, because OG are a team known for their strategy plays, and they know that the Shyvana is going to counter jungle, so they have secured all their bases around that counter jungling tactic. So Shyvana is basically rendered a bit out of order at this point, because Shyvana hasn't really set Rek'Sai that far behind. So yeah.
Yeah, indeed, and I'm just waiting for the next moment. 14 minutes in, and we've had so far. It actually has been slower than I'd say almost the other games, and all the fights we've had so far have been in the spot lane. So this is where the explosions are supposed to occur. We see Forrest has vision on the side, outside, standing still for some time. Wanting to get vision of both. Forrest is just going to throw him off the Stromp, and he's going to get hit by a skill shot, I believe. Skill shot? No.
Yeah, the sleep skill shot that basically debilitates you for like an extended period of time, and it's so OP. It has like a huge hitbox, so you can't really miss that skill shot even by an inch. You still can land it even if you miscalculate a little bit, whereas a lot of skill shots in the game, if you just move your mouse 1 centimeter to the left or the right, you just miss it. Zoe's skill shot isn't like that. I guess Riot should make it harder to land, because it is very powerful.
Indeed so, and while fun was happening near the Golem buff area, Empire was able to take the top lane turret, which is always good. It puts a little bit of extra gold into King's pocket, which is always good. And RVX, they need to. Dragon's actually, I think it's an Inferno Drake. Yeah, it's an Inferno Drake for sure. Actually,
the Dragon is coming up in 7 seconds, and it's an Inferno Drake, and.
No, it's not Inferno, it's a Cloud Drake, because the dragon bar over on the side is bugged, so it shows every dragon like that.
Oh,
it's actually a Cloud Drake.
Oh, okay. Not nearly as exciting as an Infernal Drake, because once we see that an Infernal Drake is spawned, everyone's like, rush that Drake right now, we need that ability power and AD boost. But when it's a Cloud Drake or an Ocean Drake or a Mountain Drake even, everyone's like, yeah, it's just Dragon, we're just gonna get the gold, and the free stats are nice. They're nice, but not really as exciting as AD or AP. Of course, the Mountain Drake that gives you damage against turrets, I believe, is very important for push compositions. But still, an Infernal Drake has more excitement attached to it, like more AD, more AP, so yeah.
Indeed so, and right now I really think PX aren't really in position to Drake right now. You see Shyvana, she's over in the top side jungle doing her golems. Maokai is in the top side as well. Even though Maokai does have TP, it's going to be difficult for a Shyvana to kind of come down and contest for this Drake, whereas Synox is just on this Drake right now. I don't know if that pink ward the control ward that red team has is bugged or not, because it's definitely not cancelling the vision out from the blue team wards, or maybe it's like out of range. I'm not too sure, but. Yeah, I think it's either just a unlucky placement of a control ward.
But pause has not really gone away. We did see a resume coming out, but then it was promptly paused again. I'm pretty sure someone of the team might be facing some lag difficulties. And there we go. We do have a reconnect, and we might be ready to go in a few seconds, everyone. So. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what's gonna Drake, because RVX, I mean, they don't, like I said earlier, Forrest is not in a position to take this Drake right now, whereas Synox is kind of on the Drake. So I don't know if we don't know if OG has eyes on Forrest right now. If they can just go and do the Drake, they probably don't. Yeah, they probably don't.
Yeah, but they don't see. But they don't. Yeah, they don't have the vision in Dragon right now. But okay, so another DC Cup coming in, and Leona reconnects again and DCs again for some reason. It's showing in my game that she DC'd after just after reconnecting. But that's beside the point. As I was saying, if you look at the minimap, OG do have a ward inside the Dragon Pit, while RVX has a control ward in the outer rims of the dragon, but their vision control is much better than OG's near the dragon area at this point, and they do catch wind of the fact that RV do catch wind of the fact that OG are being taken into the Dragon Pit, and they're taking the dragon, but there is no prompt response from the jungler for RV because she just backed off. She's just coming back from the base, and that's pretty much a very quick dragon for OG.
Indeed so, and you know, like I said, Force was on at all to contest for that Drake. The Rift Herald though is up, and our Force should have eyes to take that Rift Herald since he did lose the he did just now lose the Cloud Drake. But you know, Force trying to stick on this one. But Synox does not have Burrow, I believe. I think he still has. I think he has Flash, but no, he's just gonna tunnel out of the Dragon Pit right there.
And that's how basically Rek'Sai is one of the hardest to catch champions in jungle, and it's one of the hardest champions to counter jungle actually post level 3 because she has all of her abilities up, and if you catch her, she's basically going to tunnel herself away from your team or you, for that matter, because at this point we know that counter jungling is not just about stealing away the opponent's camps. Of course it is. It does serve as a deterrent to their leveling and their XP and gold gain, but if you can kill the enemy jungler, that's a huge bonus because not only is he set back by the fact that he lost the camps, he also gets set back in terms of time to catch up. And the catch-up XP in the jungle has been nerfed in Season 7, so in Pre-Season 7, so it's not really easy for a counter-jungled jungler to come back after that sort of a situation. So
true. Baron's gonna be spawning in about 1 minute, 30 seconds. None of the teams have still prioritized Rift Herald yet, which is pretty.
I guess none of the teams want to force a fight because both of them just want to play it safe. Even though there were pretty risky fights in the bot lane, I don't know, it just comes down to the fact that fights in bot lane were very risky. But when you have these opportunities for fights breaking out with the objectives, both teams are pretty much not really confident in forcing a fight around these objectives. The Rift Herald hasn't been contested yet so far, and it's just under a minute till Baron spawns, so they're gonna have to be quick if they do want to secure the Rift Herald. But I'm guessing both teams are just going to ignore it and let the Baron spawn.
I guess so. You know, the game, I think the game from 5-6 minutes has kind of calmed down, and I mean, it was like the first 13 minutes where we had a lot of chaos happening, a lot of ganks, you know, the teleports, the 5v4 and stuff. Right now, I think after that top turret broke down, I think it's been like a lot calm. There's not much fighting happening on the map right now, just a lot of farming, I guess.
Yeah, but like when both teams are really equally skilled, you know that any sort of bad play can cost you the game, but it hasn't really been that case for RVX. Like they were in basically on the back foot in bot lane, but they haven't faced any sort of harsh consequence for that because both turrets for the bot laners are up, especially RVX's. They've only lost out on a dragon, and oh my god, that's a lot of damage done by the Zoe. It's such a
Shinji taking almost below half HP there. You know, that's one thing we haven't really noticed about this mid lane. Kaka's always pushing up his mid lane. I mean, he has priority in and all around this lane, which prevents the Force from making any plays because he's always pushing it up in mid. Oh, and we have a fight happening right now. Brutalshit's gonna go on to Brutality. He's gonna get the slow, does land though. Shutdown's gonna go on to Brutality. And that's gonna go on. Here comes Zion. Toks TP's coming in as well. TP from Seeker is gonna come, but it's gonna come a little bit late. Here comes Panda. He's gonna get the kill onto Shyvana. Brutalshit is gonna go down onto Empire. He's not going to be taking the Maokai ultimate, but that's just a 1-for-1 being traded there. A shutdown for a jungler with no shutdown. I'm pretty sure it was I'm pretty sure that fight went on RBX's favor. They got the shutdown on Vayne, and wait, do we have another kill coming out here? The flip back is going to go on to Panda. Plus one looks like he's going to be in trouble. Here comes Cyanox. It still comes on to Cyanox right now. There's like no damage happening inside CM. Taking very low. Cyanox does ulti, but he's going to get outplayed. T-Bob, with the outplay over there, dodging the Rex ultimate and getting the kill. So that's going to be a 2-for-1 in favor of RBX.
Really crazy fight going on in the bot lane right now. Zoe tries to outplay the Veigar, but the miss time comes out for Shinichi. He might be feeling the nerves here. A lot of damage.
Oh my god, what is happening right here? Double Zarya Shinichi comes out with the 1v1 outplay on Kaka. What in the world was that, man? That Zarya's felt like it lasted ages. Oh wait, so the flare's gonna come down. Frost fucks up the flash. He might go down to the Panda right here. He does, but Brutality's gonna trade 1-for-1. Here comes Forrest to try and even things out. He does not have ultimate. He's taking a lot of damage with Brutality. Disengages after he realizes he doesn't want to go into that 1v2 scenario. But man, we've been having plays all over the map. The insane 1v1 in mid lane. Shinchi, like, mistiming the Zhonya's, almost losing that 1v1, but then was able to barely just scrape it up.
Yeah.
Also Frost with the fucked up flash over in the bot lane, flashing like right next to the solar flare.
Fish, I think you might be a bit delayed in this game spectating for some reason, because whatever you're commenting on, I'm seeing that a second before. I mean like 5 or 6 seconds before you're saying it. So I think you should press the live button on your spectate, because it's really weird seeing you getting excited about a play that already happened. So yeah.
Speed it up a little bit.
And meanwhile, as we were talking about the live thing, RBX takes the dragon, takes their second dragon of the game, and right now commenting about the fights that went down, RVX have pretty much secured quite a bit of an advantage for themselves, but they're still behind in the gold lead because of the fact that Vayne has gotten 2 kills, 1 kill and an assist before she got those 4 kills. And in the mid lane, we've seen
Empire in the bot lane gonna spot. Okay, he's gonna get spotted. Vayne being able to get the 2 kills, that's gonna be a double kill for Vayne. Yep, they're giving all the kills to the Vayne right here.
Okay, at this point, I will safely conclude that OG have the driver's position at this position right now, because a 7-1 Vayne at 24 minutes is just insane. Coupled with the fact that Vayne is one of the most dangerous hyper carries next to Kog'Maw and Tristana in the entire game. She's one of the more potent hyper carries right now. She's also very strong with her items that she got, which are not really the conventional items that you get on Vayne, but they are working out really well in their favor. Meanwhile, ultimate comes out from Veigar, not doing much to eliminate the Zoe from the lane, and they just pretty much walk out of there.
So right next to that, we had a smite fight between Cyanox and Forrest over at the blue buff, and Cyanox coming out ahead on that trade.
Yeah, even though he was under-leveled by 1 level, he just reached equal level with Forrest. He got the smite advantage over RVX Forrest at this point. RVX showing some nerves here because of the fact that the Vayne is really fed, and I'm not really sure as to how they're going to claw back from this one. They have to get the shutdown on the Vayne. They have to basically make their ADC, which is Ezreal, on the same level as the Vayne. He has the more
they're starting the Baron. They're starting the Baron. Oh my god, this is... I don't know how this is going to end up, but Vayne being able to shred the Baron, Cyanox taking a lot of damage from the Baron.
But RVX have to respond. They do respond. Leona zones them away using the ultimate, the Maokai ultimate, Roost Singe, but as we all know, a Singe being CC'd is not really a viable target in the team fight. You want to get the squishy targets, or even the support at this point, but not the Singe. Meanwhile, Singe tries to go in for the Ezreal, probably has to go back knowing that Ezreal has Arcane Shift, easily goes away. Meanwhile, Zoe's long-range sleep is basically proving to be a threat for RVX's RVX's backline, because once that sleep dart hits, you are going to be immobilized for a very long time, and that basically provides OG with a free walking up to you and then obliterating you. Plus, with that Vayne, they're gonna obliterate you in seconds anyway.
Pretty much. I mean, it was actually a very risky call for OG to come out just to like start the Baron like that this early on in the game. And, you know, I think RVX didn't capitalize it on properly. I really think they could have gotten a lot more out of that because Synox was like almost went to half HP just tanking the Baron alone, and they were nowhere near completing that Baron. So I think
a flash coming out from Zoe, but she does not land her E, and Ezreal lives to fight another day. Q damage, poke damage coming out. Oh, for the kill, he does, and he gets the kill on the Zoe.
Down Kaka. That's how you. You guys want to know how to counter a Zoe? How you do it?
Yeah, and that was basically how you say that you want to flash in towards me when you better hit your skill shot, because I will be arcane shifting onto you and using that Muramana proc on the Q, dealing insane amounts of damage. Zoe gets taken out. OG on the back foot in terms of this mid push, but they are going to be able to clear the minions out and still retain their mid lane turret. And the only turrets that have fallen for are RVX's turrets. Like OG haven't really lost a turret at all at this point. It's already it's 27 minutes, and OG have all 3 of their outer turrets still intact.
Indeed, so RVX, you know, they are losing in the turret game. Half HP. And you know, they have gotten the bot turret, so RVX, you know, they are a little bit behind. They're 2k behind in gold, but once they get the top turret and the bot turret, it should even out.
Yeah, and in terms of ADC prowess, I think Ezreal has hit that point where he can compete with Vayne in terms of damage, not in terms of 1v1ing potential and whatnot. Vayne is going to win that out because of her invisibility and her ultimate, but in terms of damage output, I think Ezreal is dishing out insane amounts of damage because he has that Muramana. He has that Triforce, he's completed the Blade of the Ruined King just now. So yeah, Ezreal still pretty much on par with in the ADC department. It just now depends. We've hit that state of the game where it depends on one teammate getting caught out and the vision control being paramount. As we see Forrest coming in, doing that cheeky smite on the Rift Scuttler that Morgana and Zoe were trying so desperately to secure. So yeah, it just goes to show how important vision control at this point of the game is, and how each team is looking for certain advantages to capitalize on.
You need to. You can just look at like Team Up just camping in the brush with the vision board, waiting for Kaka to come and pop up and probably get another kill or so. I mean, even though Vayne is like miles ahead of Ezreal right now, Ezreal's still able to like dish out a lot of damage. I mean, you know, he won't win in a 1v1 against Vayne, but he can still probably put out a good amount of damage.
Yeah, he will be, and it's probably the most boring fight of the century, ladies and gentlemen. Singe tickling Shyvana down to nothing right now. Shyvana being forced to ult.
Oh wait, no, I think he's gonna die. He's gonna die right here. He's gonna die right here.
Ghost does get pulled down. Meanwhile, OG has started off the Baron. It's already taken pretty low HP. A fight's going down. Veigar ulting. Morgana survives by a sliver of HP. Here comes
Vayne. Shut down on the Vayne. Shut down. He's gonna double kill on the team. Oh my god, RVX.
RVX are gonna start off the Baron with that half-star team fight that they came out on top of, and this is going to be Baron for RVX at this point, I think, because the Singe, while he is coming down with this might not be enough to stop RVX taking this Baron, and the goal lead that they were facing has only been taken down to 300 gold. Okay, so apparently one of the players had a PC crash after that fight happened, so this is why we are going to have a pause time. But Vish, my god, what was that fight, man? Like, Vayne, she was going all in. She was basically killing people left, right, and center, but then she got rooted, and Ezreal just...
Yeah, so I think what happened was Empire caught Shyvana over in the top lane, so OG thought that it was safe to do Baron because Shyvana was like almost dead, you know, super low HP, had to use ultimate, had to use flash, and so they OG again started to do Baron, But then, RVX tried to contest it because all they just want to do is prevent OG from taking Baron. And, Shinji used all he could onto Vayne, but Vayne still didn't die. And Vayne was tunneled in onto Leona right there. And Leona just stayed alive forever in that fight. And, Vayne just unable to kill Leona right there, just tunneled way too deep, and then Seeker was able to come up with the root and follow up from Ezreal, and it just went completely in RVX's favor right there. And one little misinformation that they had, positive information.
Yeah, well, the fact that Singe was so preoccupied with the Shyvana is just the fact that OG thought that they were safe because Shyvana was being preoccupied by Singe, so they thought they had the smiting power to take this Baron seriously. But I think the Vayne went too deep inside and got rooted by the Maokai, but he has to respect the damage by the Ezreal at this point.
Indeed, and Ezreal is 2 levels on the Vayne. I mean, the Vayne has all the kills. I mean, Vayne does have a lot of kills, but you have to keep in mind that the mid and jungle are literally inting right now. They're both 0-4. They both literally sacrificed themselves for the Vayne. And Ezreal is Ezreal probably doesn't scale as well as the Vayne, but oh my god, RBX T-Bomb gets hit by the sleep, nothing much happens there. But, Ezreal is right now on par with Vayne in kills. Not in terms of scaling, but, he's basically doing the best he can.
Look at the Q damage that Ezreal has. 1 Q and Singe was taken down to 25% HP, 2 Qs, 50% HP. Psyonix goes in with a burrow. He might be caught out here with the stun. Shyvana goes in. Leona still survives, but Forrest with the E does secure the kill, and RBX might be forced to fight here.
Here comes Seeker. Is he gonna ulti? Which explode is gonna be used? Is he gonna ulti?
No, he's not gonna ulti. Bish, I think you went back again. I think you should push the live button again because...
yeah, my bad.
Yeah.
I know what's happening.
Yeah, and Leona looking for picks right now. RVX going with their full aggression that they're so used to doing right now because of the fact that they got that comeback. They have advantage in terms of numbers and in terms of items and abilities and damage as well. So they're gonna push out in this mid inhibitor turret and might even take this one out. Meanwhile, Seeker takes a lot of damage. The Vayne takes it in. What is going on in this fight? Leona gets taken out. Vayne gets a double kill, and then Veigar is going to be the next one to get taken down. Ezreal gets flipped off. Oh my goodness, Vayne is dominating these fights at this point.
Triple kill under the Vayne.
Holy moly, this is going so way too it's like end-to-end football. Like one team has the advantage, then no, that team has the advantage. And this is just testament to the fact that none of these teams want to give each other an inch at this point. If you have an advantage, we have a problem with that. We're gonna come through at you and try to take that advantage away from you however we can. This is the mentality that both teams have, and this is basically the spirit of traditional competitive League of Legends. But Shyvana goes in for a very, very desperate attempt to kill the Singe. It does backfire, and Vayne gets the kill. RVX, while they had a very good lead, they basically just threw it away with their hyper-aggressive plays. Like I was saying in the beginning of the game, when RVX gets ahead, they get ahead and they go aggressive. But sometimes they just have the tendency to go way too ahead. They get way too aggressive without respecting their opponent's damage, and this is the price they pay for it. Against OG, you can't afford to do that. Against some other team, maybe, but not against OG, an Indian team who has been in this scene for a long time. They know their macro plays very well, and if you make any sort of mistake, they're going to capitalize on it, rest assured. So, but still, OG have still made their fair share of mistakes in this game. Not as calm and collected as I thought they would be, but that just goes to show how nervous both of these two teams are. None of these teams have played the perfect game. It's basically a cacophony or a symphony of mistakes at this point.
Pretty much, it's whichever team can capitalize on the enemy's mistakes, and just being able to see that the enemy team is making mistakes is where the problem lies. But RVX did make that throw, try to sees that bottom lane inhibitor, and now, OG is not in the driver's seat. They do have a small gold advantage right now, but they are definitely not in the driver's seat. I mean, the turret for gold right now is equal. OG's top lane, second tier turret is pretty low, and we're gonna have a fight here.
It's just gonna be small pokes. Oh my goodness. Like we said, she's dealing so much damage from long range. It's just insane at this point. Whittling down 3 members of RVX and basically forcing them away from a potential fight that they might have actually had an advantage in. But this is exactly what I was saying about the Zoe. Her skills are so easy to land because her damaging projectile is fast, and her sleep projectile has like a huge hitbox. So all in all, it's just guaranteed utility. So Riot, please nerf this champion somehow.
So there's still no objective on the map. Dragon is coming up in about a minute, and Baron is coming up in a minute as well. So until then, I think the teams are just gonna farm out each other's side waves, farm out the jungle, and just start collecting gold in order to fight for that Baron.
Yeah, next fight is pretty much guaranteed to be at Baron. One team's gonna be ballsy enough to go for it and just start off the Baron, forcing the fight. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be OG because the way that they're laying down the poke damage, they might want to go for the Baron after laying down some damage onto RVX's backline as they did a few minutes back. But RVX, their main focus right now is to just secure vision every single where in the lane. As you can see, Shyvana has a zombie ward. Now, what does this do? Every single time that Shyvana kills a ward of the opponent team, it summons a zombie ward in its place. So once you clear the enemy ward in one position, you instantly gain vision in that position as well. Although it's just one shot away from being taken down, you can't necessarily predict where the ward is going to be. And now RVX starting off the Baron, I was completely wrong-founded at this point. The Baron's already at half HP. OG are making their way in. Are they gonna secure the Baron before they get there? They do. And OG might not want to risk it. The flash binding comes in. That is one fast Sizz that is coming up. Probably gets stunned, but the airfield gets flipped off. Now, Vayne is laying down the damage on the Leona, but not really a priority target. Empire gets taken very low. Vayne is wrecking everyone right now, even with the Baron buff. Shyvana gets taken down. Next target is going to be Veigar. The Zhonya's goes out, but that might not be enough to save Veigar. But Brutality almost gets taken down, does get taken down by Ezreal. But then Zoe gets the Ezreal, and then Veigar, the sole survivor member of the team, tries to cheeky recall, but does get taken down by Sid.
Okay, so they rushed Baron, they couldn't get Baron, at least paying with an inhibitor here.
No, they did get Baron, but they couldn't.
I mean, they got Baron, but they all died, so none of them have the Baron buff left, and they're gonna have to pay with an inhibitor and the top lane turret, I assume. Oh, and Elder Dragon is still up, so OG Brutality is up in almost 15 seconds. They could go for the Elder Drake.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what happened at that point because Morgana flashed in and missed her binding. That is basically the cue that you go in and burst the Morgana as soon as possible. What did they do? They saw that they were going for the Morgana. They saw Singe just rushing at them with the Morgana's Dark Shield. And it's a very scary sight for an Ezreal player because you can't really Arcane Shift out of that situation. But what you can do when he was in that situation, you could have Arcane Shifted into the Baron pit to reduce the time it takes for Singe to go there. And in that point in time, Maokai could have rooted or ulted him in place. But that is exactly not how the fight went. They focused so much of their resources into killing Empire, and we know that Singe has so much innate tankiness in his kit, and it's basically a waste of abilities and resources to go for that Singe. And he played his purpose. He wasted everyone's ability damage. He wasted everyone's CC. They were trying to peel for the Ezreal. Meanwhile, Vayne just went to town with every single one of the targets as they were busy with the Singed, and it just played out so well in OG's favor just because of that one Singe and the chaos that he caused that basically made RVX to make those haphazard decisions that were not the best in that time.
Indeed so, but like the next big objective on the map is Elder Drake, and I don't think RBX is gonna have all 5 people for the Elder Drake, so that's gonna be, I guess, a secured Elder Drake over on the OG. I mean, I would like to see RBX contest this Elder Drake, but I don't think it's gonna happen because, like I said, they don't have all 5 players on the map.
Yeah, and while Maokai does have the TP, he's coming up in 2 seconds, so he will be able to join the fight, but Veigar has 21 seconds on his spawn timer, and that is basically probably too little too late for RVX because OG have a Vayne, and the Vayne can basically whittle down these high priority targets very, very quickly. And he's hit that late game phase where the Vayne is just pretty much outscaling the Ezreal. The Ezreal, while he had some damage in the mid game, it's starting to show at this point which the hyper carry effect. Basically, Vayne is doing damage to every single tank, even a tanky Leona is being taken down, and Ezreal is struggling to do the same to the Singed. And as we see, Singed is basically guarding the blue buff of RVX so that they can't go in and engage while they take the Elder Dragon. And as you said, Vish, Elder Dragon goes to OG.
Secured by OG, uncontested. Now all they just need to do is try to force a fight or push a wave. I mean, sieging is kind of more, is a more dangerous role with the Elder Drake. I think it's just better to like force a fight. I mean, you do have an open inhib in the middle, in mid lane, so it would be better to just force a fight in the mid lane, but I don't know, I think they're just gonna go...
They have to be very careful because if they make one sort of mistake, if one of their teammates gets picked out, if it's not a Singed, that can mean curtain call for OG, because RVX at this point, they've also hit a very, very powerful late game phase where you have the Shyvana with the Veigar's incredible damage and the Ezreal poking in with the Q. But now, here's the fight that forced out. Sin's going in. Maokai's gonna be focused down.
Okay, taking really low, gets focused on by the Vayne. He's back away. Right now, we engage fight with the spell chip. Goes on the Shinchi right now. He's gonna go take him down. Shinchi, I think he's also from that. That's a 1-for-1 so far. Empire taking really low. Gets caught in the sun. Kaka gets the sun. He's gonna go down right now. Vayne on the back, hitting. They do damage. He possibly can. Ezreal ulti coming in. Empire taking very low. It's a 1v2 scenario for Vayne. Vayne dies to Ezreal. What is this team fighting? OG, even with the Elder Drake forcing a fight, and you still couldn't get an ace.
Yeah, well, this is what I said. If you're not careful with that engage, if you get picked out, this is exactly what's gonna happen. What happened was Morgana was the first one to die. I mean, Rek'Sai and Morgana were the first ones to die, and that basically set up the Vayne for her eventual downfall, because there was no one protecting her from the CC. And the fact that the Singed also got bursted down pretty quickly, that was very, very, very aggressive play. And the fact that RV timed their CC so perfectly, they kept Singed in place, and allowed Ezreal to do that sustained damage, which might not be as high as Vayne, but if you keep an Ezreal alive enough, he's going to basically rake up the damage way too fast, way too quickly. And that is basically what happened in that team fight. OG, while having a clear advantage with the Elder Drake and no turrets even, and with the engage, and with the fact that they're the ones who engaged, they still couldn't win the fight because of how organized RVX was in comparison to them. It's kind of the nerve aspect coming into play again. OG showing signs of the traditional RVX over-aggression that RVX usually does, but now it's just OG in that same role. So both teams have made an equal number of mistakes at this point. So yeah, they're equally as good. I'm not saying they're equally as bad, because they're not bad. They're just equally as good. So they're all capitalizing on each other's mistakes, which are small mistakes. These are very, very, very complicated team fights where these mistakes are not really that apparent, but these players are so skilled that they can pinpoint these out and just capitalize on them, like how RVX did there and how OG did when RVX secured the Baron a few minutes earlier. So it just goes to show, like as I said before the start of the game, it depends on the team who makes the most mistakes. The team who makes the most mistakes is going to win, not necessarily the team who's going to make the most plays. Because as we've seen, OG tried to make a play, got promptly punished for it because they made a mistake.
Indeed so, and we actually have no idea who's gold. Does not matter anymore, even if it's 300 gold. difference between these two teams. Nobody knows who's in the driver's seat right now. Both these teams are at a stage where it all depends upon who plays better right now.
Yeah, it does. It does. It pretty much depends on the consistency of the good playing that you mentioned right now, because both teams have shown consistent inconsistency in all stages of the game. Because we've seen goal leads go back and forth and back and forth. Now RVX have an inhib and OG have an inhib, and the third situation, while it was so different at one stage of the game, it is exactly the same. It is legit exactly the same, with OG having a slight advantage with that top inner tower, which is holding on for dear life at this point. It's incredibly low. It just needs a few auto attacks to get taken down. But yeah, RVX not really being crumbled as we thought they would be with that advantage by OG, and it's just a very topsy-turvy game. And I'm just so glad this game is not a stomp. This game is not a stomp, plus there's no clear winner. It's literally up in the air. Anyone can win this.
Indeed. So, and I think we've got about 5 minutes right now.
Okay, so Vish, take us through the Vayne build. It's not the traditional crit IE build that we usually see on Vayne that gives her so much power. Rather, it's more of an attack speed, lifesteal build that Italian's gone for.
Oh wait, we got a team fight right here.
Yeah, Shyvana is really at low HP right now, but Vayne takes down Panda, promptly is going to take out the Maokai. This might be curtain call for RV. Shyvana gets flipped on. Blue team double kill, flash on by Veigar. Singe is laying down the hurt on Veigar and the Ezreal at this point. Zoe comes in with a lot of damage. Singe might be in trouble. The ult goes down. Singe gets taken down. And both the carries of RVX are left to defend for their lives, while Cyanox is the only tank remaining on OG. Singe was taken down by the Veigar ultimate, and they are not in a position to push at this point because
this is not good. Baron's coming up in a
Yeah, they are going. Yeah, they are going to go for the Baron after 13 seconds. But bear in mind, super minions for RV are going to spawn much longer than OG, because RV took the inhibitor way late than OG. So I'm not sure as to how this one's gonna play out. Both carries of RVX are alive and well and kicking, but they're not in a state to fight against OG with the Vayne, with the Rek'Sai, and the Zoe and Morgana laying down the support fire. They might just take down this Baron. It's just a little over 10% HP, and yes, it is going to be taken down.
Almost going down.
It is going to be taken down by OG. Cyanox almost being taken down by the Ezreal ultimate, but close, but no cigar.
Great. Anyways, I mean, this is actually really bad. You got the team with the better late game with Baron pushing, going to be pushing down your lanes right now, and what can you do? You really can't focus on outplaying each other on team fights because they have Baron and power creep. So this is a really tight situation for LGX right now.
Yeah, they just have to focus on wave clearing and trying to get those super minions out of the way, because their inhib just respawned. So OG aren't going to be respawning any sort of super minions anytime soon, while RVX have a little bit of time over OG in spawning super minions, so that might be a small deterrent to the push of their Baron empowered minions. But that's not in all lanes, and OG are smart enough to go to the lanes where there are no super minions, example top lane or bot lane. Like, they're focusing down bot lane now because they know that RV won't have super minions there, and the Baron empowered minions can just make short work of the normal minions that RVX is spawning. So this is actually a clever play from OG. They're going to the bot lane. Zoe's trying to land that stun that she is. Meanwhile,
Morgana gets exploded!
Morgana does get stunned. Way too much.
Oh my god.
Flashes in. Zoe goes out. See, Forest zoning them out, but Singe is still being a troublesome tank right now. Cyanox gets taken down. Ezreal laying down the hurt. Seeker is doing damage. Veigar stun goes in. Veigar gets the double kill on the Singe. And it's up to Zoe, and the tables have turned. It's basically the same situation that RVX was now just a few moments ago. Both their carries are surviving and none of their tanks are alive. RVX might be confident enough to go for a push even at this point, because the dragon isn't spawning anytime soon. So the best course of action right now is to push in with your minions and try to take down the mid lane inhibitor turret, which is basically what they're doing. They pushed out the bot lane, so it gives out a lot of pressure on the turret. They pushed out the top lane as well.
Right here. RVX need to try and force something, because if they wait and take a fight once more gun. One team all taking very low, by the way. Nope, they're just going to take the inhibitor. They should back right now.
Right now, this game is just going so out of hand. As you said, that when OG had the Baron buff, it was basically really difficult for RV to counter that. But Morgana, for some reason, just walked in to the Veigar stun and just probably got exploded, and that meant that Vayne did not have any sort of spell shield or any sort of peeling ability. Not many. Not saying she did not have any sort of peeling, but Morgana does the main amount of peeling for Vayne, and that basically meant that she did not have that advantage that she could use to make those risky plays, to get those kills on the tanks first and then go for the backline. That's what she couldn't do. That's why OG lost the fight right then and there.
Indeed. So I mean, but to be honest, it's going to be highly unlikely for us to screw up another team fight like that. So you know, for us, RVX, they need to start taking. Oh my God, he's getting.
Seeker does get caught out and taken down. It literally is a game of who gets caught out and who doesn't. But OG coming in, going for the mid lane inhibitor. RVX has to strategically back off. This is not the way they should be backing off. They should be backing up to the bot lane. I'm not sure as to what they're doing right now. Their inhib is going to get promptly taken down. Team-Op trying to clear the vision. Takes a lot of damage from the Zoe. That is just
going to be a game-ending push. Is this Shinchi looking like he's in a tough situation right now? But he's just going to be passing by. Elder Drake is going to be up in 15 seconds and we have another pause, goddammit.
I can understand the frustration, but understand that we have to keep the stream PG, man.
Anyways, so Dragon spawning in about 10 seconds. Here's 20 seconds. OG can easily rush this. They have the damage with the Vayne right now, and they are going to be rushing right now.
Maokai spawning in 15 seconds. At this point, even if they get the Elder Dragon, I'm not really giving it to OG, because they took the Elder Dragon, they lost a fight. They took the Baron, they lost another fight. Which is the same thing that RVX did before them. So I'm not sure. Is this game bugged or something? Is the Elder Dragon for the Baron buff not working?
It's like the ancient curse. Take the buff, but you will throw as well.
Yeah, this is basically a double-sided sword at this point. You take the Baron or you take the Elder Dragon, you're gonna lose the next fight. It's been the case consistently in this game. And right now, the gold lead doesn't even matter because both teams have full item builds. And at this point, it just depends on who gets caught first. This is the traditional late game mentality that we've seen in seasons 5 to 7 so often. So yeah, we're back in the good old sluggish old late game battles of League of Legends in this new season, which is supposed to have shorter games. But yeah, this game is not really that short. It's 15 minutes.
I mean, when you take into playing this game, and you know the amount of skill level that's in this particular game right now, it's gonna go for around 50 minutes long. I thought the game would at least get over. So, no. 50 minutes in, we finally got the second top tier turret destroyed, and OG is pushing on to the inhibitor turret right now. Hopefully they don't throw this time also.
I'm not sure if they will. Most teams playing pretty risky at around the turret.
Oh, Sidon gets caught, he's waiting! Ultimate kill him, he had solo play. Okay, two-shot barrages, I would say. Panda's gonna get flipped over. Panda. OG Panda's gonna get shot in the OG Zonius is gonna go down for Morgana right there.
The redemption.
Oh my God, Rousey's gonna go down on Viger right now, but he isn't gonna go. Synoc's taking very low, living on a knife, and he's gonna live with about 20% HP. Not even 20, that's like 2% HP.
Oh my lord, it was basically two teams getting caught out by each other. And
Baron is up. Baron is up in 10 seconds. Very low. RBX do have the advantage point right now. They should try to contest it. They should.
They definitely should contest this Baron. Try to force a fight while Cyanox is low. Because if the jungler is low on the opponent team, you know for a fact that you have a distinct advantage in securing the Baron buff. And if you can secure the Baron buff and play your cards right, that is game for you right there. Because at this point, the spawn timers are so long. They're over 60 seconds long. So it gives you so much ability to just push in and try to secure the base at all costs. And coupled with the fact that Seeker and Forest are just incredibly tanky at this point. They've not gotten to the tankiness level of Singed. Of course, no champion can do that in the late game, which is basically comparable in terms of tankiness to Singed. But they do have enough tankiness to not rely on the minions to secure the game. So next fight, whoever wins it will get the game.
Yeah, and I think this is by far the closest game we've had in the tournament. I mean, this is just 50 minutes of just going at it. Like, this game is like so close.
And bear in mind, we've been here for more than an hour because almost 12 minutes of the pause time has been counted down, and it's 51 minutes, so it's more than an hour we've been shoutcasting this game. And have some mercy on us shoutcasters. Our hearts are racing at this point from the adrenaline. It's so close. It is so close, and it's so back and forth. But RVX slowly and cautiously trying to make their way into the Baron, but they decide against it and want to back off.
Teemo right now gonna go for the no. It's like nobody's gonna go to the bottom.
Baron being picked down by OG, but they're also deciding against it. True Shot Barrage going out to check whether the Baron is being has been commenced by OG or not. But yeah, at this point, I wouldn't blame the Ezreal for being way too cautious as to what is happening at this point. Like, you can't be too careful at this point. You just need to not get caught. That is basically what these teams are doing. They're trying not to get caught. They're not trying to make plays. They're trying to not make mistakes at this point.
Good team on. It's all about who calmer mind here in the late game, because like as you said earlier, whoever basically wins. So.
Meanwhile, OG start off the Baron, and RP have caught wind of it because they have 2 wards in the Baron pit.
There's no control ward there. Right. The stone's ready to go down on the fire. The
Baron still comes out! The Baron still comes out for first! Oh my god, but Bang picks out the Leona! This fight might not go well for RB.
Bang is spreading everybody. Shinji, Team Love and survive. Down. Is he gonna go down? No, he's not. No, T-Bomb is caught. Oh, what are you doing? USS is he's trying to do something. No, he gets split. That's GG. OG just won this game right now. Losing, but they won the game.
Oh my goodness, that Baron's still coming in from... But that is so unfortunate that OG were just able to turn around and just basically finish that off. Like I said, you pick Baron, you pick Elder Dragon, that means you're losing the next fight. And that is exactly what happened for RB. OG Gaming picks up the win over RBX. It's a 1-hour game. So much back and forth. Oh my god, I need a minute to take a... I really need to take a break after this one, because what was that game? Oh my god, so close, so close.
That was the closest game I think we've seen the entire year, to be honest.
Like, even though OG won, I have to give credit to RVX for holding on to dear life and just, you know, forcing those fights forcing and making those fights happen even when OG was in the lead. They did not give up, they did not surrender. And those back and forth fights just paved the way for a very, very exciting game. I'm pretty sure even though OG won, both teams are the winners here. They gave us one hell of a League of Legends match. And guys, with all that action, we need a break. You need a break, of course. So we'll be back with more League of Legends action. Hopefully not as stressful after 5 minutes. So stay tuned to this channel.